Alright, so this is going to be part 6 to what if Deku had D4C as a quirk. So with that being said, let's just roll the intro.
Treat a bad bitch like she average. I'm a savage, little hoe, what you want do? I'm about cash if the raw fast. I'ma get that little nigga by any means.
Alright, so as you noticed that my intro is a little bit different. I'm actually trying to get monetized at this point. So I don't want my videos to be claimed by music, the music industry basically. So I need to cut my intro in half. It has to be like less than 10 seconds, I believe, something like that. So yeah, I hope you understand. Alright, so it's not that much of a difference. It's not like I changed the song, I just cut it in half. So yeah, I guess I would like to address that I haven't really been posting this what if, and also Accelerator in a while, because I don't know, I just felt like I needed to take a break from these because I wasn't really feeling too much. I don't know, I just didn't know how to continue the story, I guess. So yeah, and plus this one's like my least popular series, I believe. But yeah, I'm gonna continue it, and then hopefully my newer viewers could see rewatch the older ones and then see how I have improved over the weeks. So yeah, so last time we left off, it was just after the sports festival, and where our story is going to start off is actually when they're picking hero names. So for the hero names, for Deku in particular, I think he would pick I don't know why he would, but this was the kind of hero name that everyone was suggesting, and that was Funny Valentine. So yeah, we're just gonna go with that. And yeah, so in this one, he would still have the internship with Gran Torino because he has all for one or one for all in this, and he would need to learn how to use it more, right? Or use it not just in his D4C, but just in general, right? On himself as well, because he's mostly been using D4C. So he would still get that recommendation from All Might, but he would in general he would get a lot of internships, right, or requests, because he got second place, if I remember. Yuarashi got first, and I think Todoroki got third. So yeah, it would be a pretty split between each of them, because they all have very powerful quirks, right? And Yuarashi's hero name would be the same as it was in canon. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. Also, believe Bakugo's still pretty. I think he's like normal Bakugo in this one. So yeah. So, they would, All Might and Deku would still have that chat about All for One and how one day he's going to have to face him and things like that, right? Actually, hold up. I believe we already had that chat. I think that's before the sports festival. So, All Might would just say that he gave Midoriya a recommendation to his old teacher and he wants to have an internship for him. And Midoriya would accept because obviously it's All Might's teacher and he wants to be taught by him. So the day would happen where he would go out there and go to Gran Torino's house, and when he gets there he sees this old man on the floor with some red substance around him, and Deku doesn't know what to do and he thinks he's dead. And by a closer look, this is when Gran Torino says, I'm not dead, and this is when a sigh of relief comes over Midoriya or Deku. And as Gran Torino's getting up, he's like, all right, so you're the next successor for One for All, huh? And he would check out his hero costume, right? And I never really said how his hair costume looked. I just said it had to just involve the cape, right? So I'm not sure how. It doesn't really matter too much. It just has to involve cape, so it's easier for him to kind of go between dimensions. So then this is when Gran Torino will be like, huh, this is a pretty interesting costume. How about you lay out a Detroit smash on me, right? And see if you could hit me. And Deku would be hesitant, like, I'm not gonna just punch an old man and things like that, right? So Gran Torino would start jumping across the room, seeing like showing Deku that he's not someone to like mess around with. So Deku would use D4C and try to hit Gran Torino that way, right? And Gran Torino would be able to dodge, and this is when he would like hit Deku from the back. And he's saying, you're relying too much on that side of your quirk. You gotta use one for all on yourself as well. And Deku would be like, well, if I do that, my body's gonna, break, right? So Gran Torino's like, no, you gotta have it like at a lower percentage. You gotta start out small and then grow up from there, right? So this is when Deku tries to do it again, using D4C, and it doesn't work. Gran Torino goes behind it, hits him, makes him try again, until Deku actually learns how to use one for all in that kind of, he uses, it's basically full cowling but a low percentage, right? So he'd be able to kind of use it that way, right? At this point in time. So he would use it mostly in his legs to kind of jump out of the way and have D4C kind of counter it, right? And as I said in the last few parts, in this one, Deku switched out his version of himself with a more muscular and more built version of himself, similar to that of Ida. So yeah, so he would be able to use more percentage of one for all than usual. I don't remember the exact percentage I gave him, but let's say it's like around 25%. So yeah, at this point he doesn't really use 25% because he's still getting used to kind of spreading the energy throughout his body. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it right now. So eventually he would try to, over the few days that they're there, he would learn how to kind of use this form. And then it would be the day where he would basically tell Deku to come with him to Tokyo to go fight villains and do some patrols, right? And as they're on the train, this is when Anomu actually comes through and, breaks through the train. And this is when Gran Torino goes and fights him. So Deku would go behind and try to find Gran Torino. And as he's trying to look for him, this is when he finds Ida and Stain in that kind of dark alleyway, also native. So Stain would have the knife in Ida's like shoulder, right? So this is when Deku would run at him using D4C, right? Kind of how you see in JoJo's like Eyes of Heaven, how they kind of like how most of the Saiyans that have like a sort of punching ability, they like run up to people and just kind of like use their ability like that. Kind of like I forgot what the thing's called, but it's when like two teammates kind of attack at the same time. But yeah, it's kind of like that. So Stain would try to like he would jump back right from this, and he's like, like he's confused why another person would be here, right? So Deku doesn't really know Stain's quirk, right? So I think he would request backup. He would text a few people, right? Just how he does in the anime. He would text them his location, and hopefully they would come and help him. So he would see Ida really on the ground, and he'd be asking, Ida would be saying like, you gotta leave, this isn't your fight, and things like that. And Deku would basically say that, what kind of hero would he be if he left someone in trouble out there to die, right? So Ida can't really say much, and Stain's really surprised that this kid was able to, say something like that. So he's like, kid, I really like you, and you're worth, you're not like these other heroes who just go out there for the fame and money. So if you leave now, I won't kill you, right? And he's like, Deku would be like, no, I'm not, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna save both Ida and Native. Well, he wouldn't say Native because I don't know if he would know. I think Deku knows his name in the canon, so I think he would say Native. So yeah. So Stain would kind of rush towards Deku, and then this is when D4C would come out and try to block the punch, right? So this is when Deku would try to get Ida up, right, and try to get him moving. And this is, he would ask him like, "Are you okay to fight?" And Ida would be like, "Yeah, I think so. He only got my shoulder," right? But Native wouldn't really be able to do anything. So this is when Stain basically every cut that he does for every time he tries to attack D4C, right, some of the damage is being sent to Deku, but the damage is kind of proportional, right? So if like a cut, if like Stain tries to do like a really powerful slash on D4C and there's only like a scratch, then Deku would only get a scratch, right? That's kind of how it would go. I don't think the reverse isn't the reverse doesn't happen, where if Deku gets like cut, then D4C will get cut. It doesn't work that way. It only goes one way. So Stain would know that he's kind of outmatched against D4C, so he would try to like go around it, because at this point D4C still has that kind of limited range. So this is when he would try to go around and try to go for Deku, but Deku would have his full cowling, right? And he'd be able to jump out of the way and kind of kick, or not kick, he would be able to jump out of the way and try to do a counter, right? Because he is very strong, and he would have his hero's costume on him, so he would be able to use his cape. He would take it off, right? He would detach it from his suit, and he would use it to go and cover himself, so he could be in between two objects. And this is when he would bring out other Dekus from different universes, right, to kind of distract Stain. So as Stain's kind of fighting these kind of Dekus, right, not really, the Dekus aren't really doing too much because they aren't, armed in any way or have any protection, so they're dying pretty easily and pretty fast, right? But Deku could take out like a bunch of these. So what would happen next is that Deku would run at Stain, right, with his kind of cape, and Ida would try to like, after like all the clones would be like dead basically, or I guess I don't know what would happen to them because I haven't really read the manga. I guess they would just disappear or something like that. But basically Deku would go behind Stain while Ida was fighting him, and this is when he would use his like cape, and he would go in between objects and he would grab Stain with him, so he'd be stuck in between their dimension and the other dimension, so he'd be stuck, right? So when Deku would come out, I believe this was when Todoroki would come, right? And he would basically say that we caught Stain and things like that, right? So with Stain being kind of held like this, Deku would just have D4C kind of knock him out, right? And he would take all of Stain's weapons, just how they do kind of in the anime. And eventually this is when the other heroes come, Endeavor and Gran Torino and things like that. So they would say like, oh my god, the heroes would be like, oh my gosh, did you take out the hero killer? That's very impressive, since you're like kids, right? They're kind of in a little bit of in disbelief. And as they're like thinking this is when the Nomu, the flying Nomu, would come and get him. And Stain at this point would be stuck and wouldn't be able to do anything, and he wouldn't do that speech that he does in the anime to frighten everyone. So I think Endeavor would be able to use his kind of like fire javelin to kind of to kill the Nomu with wings. And basically after that was done, this is when Endeavor would catch Deku, right? And later on, when they're in the hospital, Midoriya or Deku would be visiting Ida, and the chief of police would come through and basically say, we're going to give the credit to Endeavor, since it's illegal for people who don't have their license to use their quirks in public, right? So they're going to let this slide and just give the credit to Endeavor and things like that, right? So as Ida's we're seeing how he was a fool for trying to do this on his own, and he tells Deku basically about how he has numbness in his hand and how he was badly injured and things like that. And basically he tells him that it's going to be like a kind of reminder for not to do it in the future, right? And this is when Deku would tell Ida can I see your brother? I think I could do something for him, right? And Ida would be crying. He was like, do you think you can? And Deku was like, yeah, I think so. So they would go to the different branch of the hospital where Ida's brother would be there. And this is when Deku would take out D4C, and he would use his ability D7 to kind of replace his body with a healthy one, right? So he'd be able to use his legs and things like that. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here, and then in the next part we'll go over, let me see, the Teachers versus Heroes, and then after that maybe the movie. So yeah, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and with that said, this is gonna be the end of the video. So yeah,